All right. So this is IQRPG. My name is Tempest. This is the homepage of my character profile. I've been playing for 725 days. That is exciting. So this is going to be the first page you see when you log in. It's got some of your character stats on it. I'm just going to start mainly describing the interface, where to go to access certain features or items, etc. Kind of just explain the basics here. Unfortunately, this screen is a mix both of statistics and actual important kind of inventory management. As you see there on the right side, the runes and the jewels, this will be where you access it, not through your inventory that we'll talk about later on, as well as upgrade your gathering tools and your equipment. So basically, IdleQuest RPG is a pretty simple PBBG persistent browser-based game. Basically, every tick, every 6 seconds, a turn happens or an action is spent, an auto. As you can see at the top of this page, I'm not actually doing any of my actions, so I'm just going to click Quarrying here for a second. Let's go back to the home page. And that translates to 10 autos or 10 actions a minute, 600 in an hour. So you can see my action stats for today, the month, and total. That'll come in important kind of later. Battle stats, this stuff's not too important. What is going to be important later on is this right here, this total boss damage. We'll talk about that later when we talk about bosses. The rest of this is just leaderboard, high score stuff. Gathering stats, again, this is just high score stuff. Nothing there. Crafting stats, this is how much pain you want to endure as a player, because crafting it's a gambling system that you always lose. So I can say that because I've wasted a ton of actions in here. It's a good time. Okay, on the right hand of the column here, these things will actually matter to players regardless if they go the battle route or the gathering route. Your gathering tools, and this is not super intuitive, so the pickaxe, the hatchet, and the hammer, those you can actually click on, and when you do, it'll tell you how many tool components you need to upgrade them. You don't do this too often, especially later in the game when these costs get very, very high. You don't visit it too often, but this is the only place in the game where you can upgrade your tools. Equipment at the moment, it's just the Rune Belt. And the Rune Belt is upgraded with what's called runic leather. It's a rare drop that you can get through raids. We'll talk about that. Bosses. We'll talk about that. You can get it from clanmates. Your first couple upgrades here are going to be pretty cheap. Everyone starts with one rune slot, so you can equip one of these runes that you see down below. Then I don't have the correct numbers here, but I believe your second one is your first upgrade is so to get to 2 rune slots, you need just 1 runic leather. To get to 3, you need 5 more. To get to 4, you need 25 more, and then to get to your 5th is 125. So as you see here, I've saved up a lot and got all 5 of the rune slots. The runes themselves, there are 9 levels of runes, and they help mostly combat, but as you see the stats on this rune, there's that kind of 3.2% resource bonus. That's for gatherers, and so there's a small incentive here if you are a gatherer to get runes. I think it'd be really cool somewhere down the line here if they actually had gathering runes. It would help diversify what it is we're crafting towards. But anyway, that's runes. Jewels, likewise to runes, there are slots. The equivalent of the rune belt for your jewels is going to be in, as unintuitive as this is, it's going to be in the marketplace, and we'll talk about that. You buy jewel slots like you do for runes, but instead of it being something like runic leather, which is an item that you can save up, it's another type of currency called dungeoneering. Was it dungeoneering tokens or credits? Yeah, it's in the token store. And yeah, your jewel slots are bought with dungeoneering tokens. And then so everyone starts. I think you're able to equip just one sapphire. I think at the very beginning. And so the first tier of each of these sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds, I think the first tier is reasonable, somewhere around maybe 10,000 points. And then for each subsequent one, it gets more and more expensive. And then manage your jewels. This is where you can equip, unequip, destroy any of these jewels. In the most recent patch, you now have the ability to send a jewel to a particular player. Prior to this, you had to list the jewel on the market and hope the person that you were trying to send it to actually got it. So I think that was a pretty great change. So that's the home page. Just to talk about a little bit what's going on here on the far right, far left. Attributes are for combat. So for me as a gatherer, these do not matter that much. Where these come into play is if I want to hit a boss, which is why I focus so much on accuracy, and helping out with your clan mobs, your clan mobs. So attributes. Masteries, these are skills. They give bonuses based off the action you're doing. So damage reduction, accuracy, and dodge all are kind of related to these attributes. If I hover over health, for example, you'll see I get 156 from the health attribute. My equipment's giving me 3304. That's going to be both my equipment and my runes and my jewels, which is why that's so high. And then my clan is giving me 18. Attributes. Yeah. So then masteries, we have the same. Then we have gold rush, which you can see over here on the, let me see if I can scroll down a bit so my log appears above me. This is resource rush that I'm getting. Gold rush is the equivalent. It's an extra dump of gold you get, and the likelihood of that happening is going to be based off your gold rush amount. I'm getting, as you can see here, a bunch of stone rushes. Look at that, just one every whatever few minutes or whatever. And we can see here I've got my quarrying, which is what relates to that stone rush, at 500. So gold rush is kind of this rush of gold. Mining is for metal rushes when doing the mining action. Wood cutting, wood rushes when doing wood cutting. For wood rushes. Quarrying gives you stone rushes. And so these are gold rush. Combat, mining, wood cutting, and quarrying are the four kind of main actions you will find yourself doing. And the reason why, as you can see my character, I do a little bit of everything, and depending on folks' opinions, not the point of the game, but one way of measuring progress in this game is sort of like wealth generated per action. Okay? So I can measure my wealth in combat. It's straightforward. You get X amount of gold for the mob you defeated. For gathering, you get X amount of resources, which can translate to X amount of gold because you can sell those resources. Getting more resources per action the best way to achieve that is to invest your gold or your tool components, etc., into one particular thing. So try to get the highest hammer level, right? And try to focus as much actions into something like quarrying, so that you're not spreading it out. Hey, I'm going to do X amount of actions in quarrying, X amount in wood cutting, and now I'm splitting my time, splitting the experience I could have gained, etc. So, many people will suggest just focusing on one particular track. I consider that a little boring, but I also I guess can afford to buy a higher level hatchet, buy a higher level hammer, and I find myself spending most of my time gathering wood, gathering stone, and rune crafting. So the last two masteries here, gathering was just recently changed in the latest patch. So gathering is basically like the rushes I just explained, the gold rush, the mining, the wood cutting, and the quarrying rushes, except they go directly to your clan, and they're much larger than normal. So you see these rushes I'm getting are about 22,000, 21,000, the equivalent of my I explained the wrong thing. The thing I'm describing right now is clanmanship. Apologies. Clanmanship is this clan rush, and my clan rushes are about 2 million stone or 2 million wood. I don't get any of that. The clan gets it, and we'll talk about that later. We use it for clan buildings and upgrades that benefit every member of the clan. Gathering is basically it's a way to get these gathering, what do we call them? Gathering skill shards. Again, one more thing to upgrade, right? This game, just like other games of its genre, are a whole bunch of different currencies and then things to spend those currencies on, all again to get back to the point of increasing action or wealth per action, right? So the higher your gathering mastery is, the more likely it is you're going to get these skill shards, and the amount of those skill shards is going to be influenced by your skill shard level, which is something we'll talk about later. But yeah, those are the masteries. Land, let me close up attributes. Land is a few different things. The one thing you have to be informed of here is your current raid, which, unlike the rest of this game, which you have to keep your browser open, that green bar up at the top has to tick down. There's no offline mode for this. The raid is that thing that will tick down when your browser's closed. Regardless if my browser is open or closed, in an hour and 5 minutes, this traveling merchant will arrive back, and I'm going to get essentially a loot box. And you can do raids all day long. They range from an hour and a half up to, I think, 24 hours. Let's see. Skills. This is just your level of battling, dungeoneering, mining, wood cutting, quarrying, rune crafting, jewel crafting, and alchemy, and a total level. Yep, just a little progress bar essentially there. Nothing too complicated. Whenever your main content screen is not on the action that you're performing, you get this current action. And if I was to click into quarrying, you see it disappears, and all the details of my action are here. So if I go back to my home screen, it's going to go there, and I can minimize that. What you're not seeing here are two more things, and I'll just take a potion so you can see it here. I'm going to take one of these potions. You can have effects. Effects are either from potions that you take, so you can get potions for, and here's a list of all the potions. Basically increasing experience, or increasing say like yield from resources, something like that. The only other effects that happen are from when someone purchases the premium currency, and there's a global boost, global experience gain, global resource gain, global gold gain. Those will appear under effects. You can stack effects, meaning I can't wait. Is that correct? Oh, now I'm having a brain fart moment. I don't know if I can do a greater XP potion and a minor XP at the same time. I don't think I can. I think it's just one of these at a time. But I can take more than one potion at a time and stack up thousands of actions here as I need. Okay, you can't see the cursor. Cool. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, my Calvin and Hobbes and my Hobbit back there at the bottom. Yeah, cool. You can't stack XPs. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, you can't do the minor XP and the greater XP. It's one or the other. So that's that. This effect. The other thing that'll happen there are your global bosses. Those will be basically mobs. Gatherers can hit them. Many people are opposed to that. I've killed many bosses, and they don't like that. 119. Bosses appear. You'll want to click them. You need to do at least 100,000 damage before you can start collecting boss tokens. But hitting bosses are the only way in your market, in your token store, in your boss tokens, where you can accumulate these boss tokens. And we'll talk about this boss store later. Many of these items are not worth buying with your boss tokens because it's the only way to do it. Because it's the only way to get it. It's much cheaper to acquire things like the trinket fragments for 5,000 and the runic leather for 5,000. Much more affordable. Other ways around this. Just case in point right now, Goblin Cave keys I think are selling for like $500,000 each. Okay? And a runic leather is like maybe 5 million. I could buy a whole bunch of Goblin Cave keys or a whole bunch of vials of orc blood for a fraction of the price, and buy a runic leather off the market, or a trinket fragment off the market, which is roughly half the cost of a runic leather. So anyway, just throwing that out there. But those do fluctuate. Okay, so effects. Current actions. Okay, equipment. Equipment is really just there for combat. So unfortunately, I do not know much about combat. I've not spent a lot of time with combat. You can click on, and so what I thought was, again, this interface is okay. It's not super intuitive that these were things you could click on and then get a menu here to upgrade them. But when people are like, upgrade your equipment or whatever, this is what they're talking about. I can upgrade two things about this. The power and the modifier. One's with gold, the other one's with weapon components. They both work together to make your weapons more powerful. So you have two weapons and then a number of pieces of armor. And so here, again, gold to upgrade and then armor components. I'm not going to even pretend that I know much about combat, except that at the end of the day, the way we play the game is pretty similar. They're in the battling screen, whereas I'm in the gathering screens. Okay, your action bonus. Let's see if I have one. Okay, so this is what it looks like with that string of... that's when I hit a boss. Let's see if I have... Ooh, here's an action bonus. Boom. And yeah, so 400 actions ago, this bar filled up. Every time the bar fills up, it's basically like a random loot box. Okay? This is where you can get... An action bonus consists of gold. It consists of keys for dungeons. And it can also include bound credits, which you can spend on a number of things. Credits are the premium currency. Bound credits are one that you can get, but you can't trade, but you can spend it on the premium currencies. And so over time, every time the bar fills up, you get a reward, and your action bonus cap goes up by 1. The trade-off with it being like whatever, I get an action bonus, I guess, every 6 hours now, and you're like, wow, I have to wait a whole 6 hours. Yes, but as you can see, unlike someone who's just started playing the game yesterday, who's maybe getting 1 key, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keys and almost 500,000 gold. So it all sort of evens out, right? You have to wait longer for your action bonuses, but you can get quite a bit. So that's how action bonuses work. Then there's the log, which is just this big log. I did a whole bunch of potion crafting. I was doing some quarrying. That's where I'm getting the sandstones from. I got the action bonus. I fought a boss. Did some more of that. Let's see, what did I do before the potion crafting? I crafted some more. Yeah, so it's going to keep track of X amount of things in the log, and you can clear it out so you can focus on whatever it is. So that is the interface. Some pretty, let's see what else. Things for like new players to keep in mind. So here's your inventory. Your inventory shows all your currencies. You can also see all your items. There's not much going, like I rarely visit items here because I'm so often in the marketplace, and the marketplace will show you the same thing. Oh, the couple things that are unique to, okay, I didn't realize this, whoops. You can actually manage your jewels through the inventory as well. Okay, cool. Trinkets are something that are in your inventory as well. This is a later game thing. You start getting these drops when you start getting level 100 in something, a level 100 battling, level 100 quarrying. They can drop before, I believe, but they drop a lot more often later. And it's a later game thing because either you have to invest a lot into Treasure Hunter, which is the thing that can trigger the quality and frequency of these drops. And then, yeah, just upgrading them takes a bunch. So probably later this weekend, I'm going to re-roll some of these. I've got like 350 trinket fragments waiting to, I'm going to boost some of these up and get rid of the other ones. You can equip 3 of these at a time, and they hold a number of stats. You'll see a theme here. Let me see in inventory. So white things are common. So the resources, right? Common. And then green is that uncommon. Blue is rare. Yellow is epic. Let's see if there's maybe, yeah, here we go. And orange, I guess, legendary, I think. And then there's red, which is whatever, the next highest thing. The only things that are red at this moment, I think, are jewels. Gems. Sorry, no, not gems. Gem is the raw material that you take and make a jewel out of. I do not have red. Those are very rare. Oh, and trinkets, of course. Sorry, I was just on that screen. You can have the mythical. That's right there. red, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, red, mythical. So yeah, those are trinkets. Trinkets are a later game thing. Not to worry about it. It's just something else for us to sink our currency into. Okay, so that's our inventory. The market. There's the token store, which we kind of went over. There's boss tokens. And there are jewel slots with your dungeoneering tokens. Dungeoneering tokens are earned only by doing dungeons. And they are the only way to increase the number of jewels you can have. The black market. This has changed over the last couple years. The black market now is very simple. You can buy bound credits at the beginning of each month. This resets every month. It starts off at like 100K, and it goes up to, at the moment, I buy about 75 each month, which goes up to about 2 million for that 75th purchase. 2 million is what you can pretty consistently buy credits for on the market, so there's no point in going higher. And everything below 2 million is better than buying it on the market. So I forget what this was. I used to keep track of it. I think it was something like 16 million. Maybe it's more than that now. 25 million to buy 75 a month. But that's what the black market is. It used to be a thing earlier where you would trade resources once a week and get a few tokens, a few credits. Again, here's all your things you can buy and sell. You can view your listings. So here I am. What am I doing? I'm selling heroic potions, some stones, some sapphires, some other potions. I'm buying metal and a bunch of stuff I use for rune crafting. Going back, then you can send items. There's two ways to send items to folks. You can either click on them. So if I click on myself, here's kind of that public profile. This is all just stats, and next to it is the leaderboard kind of stats. Shows the clan that I'm in. I can send item, and here I can change this to any of these items that I have: resources, gold, credits, any of this stuff. And I can put in an amount. The other way to send items, I guess, would be market store, and then I can send item, and I have to, I guess, fill in the name. I don't know. That seems like that's prone to user error. I like how some of these other games. Let's just see if I start typing. Yeah, I like how in these other games that have similar games that I play in this field, they do an autocomplete or a drop down, and I like that better. So I always suggest just click on someone's name. You can find all the online players. If you go up here to players online and click it, you'll see Carl. Carl's the guy that made the game. Then you have some mods. Then everything else is ranked by how much premium currency people have spent. And then down here at the bottom are all the peasants, folks like me who have not actually spent a dime of real money on this particular game. But anyway, here's all the names and stuff like that, so I could select someone. Here's Kalesaur, who's watching the stream. I can click him. Hi. So that's the market. And the way the market works, here, let's just give this an example. I'm gonna sell some wood here. You can place a buy order or a sell order, and I gotta say, I like this market interface more than several other games that I've played. You can see who's buying, who's selling. Sometimes folks do make mistakes where they will click the wrong button and you'll end up selling something for a lot cheaper. The other thing comes up sometimes, especially with resources here. Oftentimes what you'll do is, hey, I want to buy, and they'll say something like, what they will mean to do is, I wish to buy, whatever this is. 1 million, 10 million resources for 3 gold each, right? What they will accidentally do is you'll put in 3 and you'll be willing to pay 10 million gold apiece. That happens every now and then. I've definitely been burned by that a couple times. So you'll get a total of 3 wood from a player and have spent 30 million gold to get it. That sucks. It happens. That's where I like games like Queslar kind of protects you a little bit better than that from that. Okay, so that's the marketplace. Battling, pretty straightforward. You have all the basic areas. There's no way for you to calculate your own power level. It says these are the mobs of the various power levels, but there is no way to just see yours. So it's kind of test, right? You click, you see if you win, you can see how often you win, and there you go. I think I'm somewhere here. I think I hit the harpy. I think that's where I'm at. Let's see if I totally bomb this. Okay, I'm doing okay. Cool. Okay, so this is the interface for battling. Just every 6 seconds it's going to hit something. It's going to give you a little summary, and then you're going to get some gold and experience. It's got this little action tracker down here, keeping track of how often you're winning or losing and your gold gains. This is very helpful because you may, I may have clicked on that harpy and won the first couple, but I may come back in, 10 minutes and realize, oh, I only have like a 70% win rate. And so I just wasted 30% of my actions gaining no gold, gaining no experience. So it's important to keep track of that win-loss rate. You can It'll inform you on when you should be moving up. It's also nice to keep track of how much gold you gain. It'll also keep track of gold rushes. Does black market reset the first of month or 30 days from purchase? First of every month. First of every month. So for players that are starting the game today, October 27th, buy your black market stuff now, because in 4 days it's going to reset again. Great question. Okay, so we're going to just open up attributes and masteries for a second. I should have mentioned this before, but here we go. Masteries might... I want to put this back on wood cutting. My wood cutting mastery, your mastery has a chance of increasing every action that you do, regardless of the action, whether I'm in a dungeon, whether I'm fighting clan mobs, whether I'm gathering, battling, crafting. Those masteries can increase. Attributes, on the other hand, will only increase if you're actually battling. Okay? Cool. So right now I've set it so that wood cutting is going to be the mastery, and the higher that number is, the less often it drops. So if I was to flip this over to Gold Rush, I would probably gain a Gold Rush here in the next few minutes. I have a pretty high mastery bonus. I'm in a clan with a pretty high mastery bonus. Something's set to 100 and something's only 110 here for Gold Rush. It'll increase, as opposed to my clanmanship, my gathering, my coring are 500. Now there used to be a soft cap at 500, which means you could go above 500, but it was very, very difficult to get that 501, that 502. Now that soft cap has just been removed. It's still difficult to go to 501, 502. It's gonna scale, but that it will be easier than it has in the past. So again, I like just to hit bosses, and we'll talk about that when we get maybe a different video about bosses. But hitting the boss, even for a low amount of damage, is better than not hitting the boss. So that's why, as a gatherer, if I was going to focus on one thing, it'd be accuracy. Second to that, it would be attack, because the amount of damage I do is very important. For boss fights, you're always going to lose. You're always going to lose, and that's okay. Your character, whatever, dies or whatever, loses, and then you just hit him again. So the health and defense, dodge, and damage reduction don't do shit for boss fights. For other combat, sure. But that's where I'm at with that. So this is, yeah, cool. So I'm doing that. The other thing, much later video, is a special area. This is a later game thing, I guess I would say. It's similar to a regular fight, but the loot and the XP and your chance to gain attributes are very much increased here. You have to buy basically access to this abyss, and it recharges a little bit every day, and it caps out. I think it takes 5 or 6 days to hit the cap. I can go up to 1,000 battles here. Most players, well, I don't know, some of the really great battlers, they'll have probably thousands of actions. I mean, ideally, if you really wanted to spend a ton of money, you would just spend all day in here, in your in the abyss. Tool components, health and upgrade stones, later game upgrades. But for each one of these areas, again, it's like a little bit of a loot box, and this is important to understand. This is the potential loot for this first area. I have a 70% chance that gold is going to be in that loot box. 15% chance I'm going to get one weapon component. And so you can see, as I go from the sewer to, say, like the volcanic plains, where I am right now fighting this harpy, I have a 30% chance at 15,000 gold and 35 at these things. This is not a 30% chance of a drop. This is whatever your drop chance is, say for example 1%. If I get that drop, the chances when I open up that loot box, what it contains, that's what this frequency is talking about. Okay, so if you want to have more drops more often, then you need to increase your drop boost. But yeah, that's often a misconception, where people are like, oh, 70% of combat should be giving me a bunch of gold, and 15% of combat should be giving me weapon and armor. That's not what it means at all. Okay, so we're going to stop battling. I'm going to go to quarrying. So I'm going to go to my gathering screen here. Gathering light combat, similar in the fact that I'm going to click one of these things, start mining, start wood cutting, start quarrying. There is potential loot. You see I've accumulated it there. Getting my sandstones. Each one of these crafts relates to, each one of these actions relates to a particular craft. Mining gives you gem fragments, which are used to make sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds, and then you can get sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and diamonds at the appropriate mining level. So all of those is used in the crafting, jewelry crafting. That's where that is used. Wood cutting drops tree sap, bird's nests, and golden eggs, which is used in alchemy. And I'll say right now, sorry, I'm kind of hopping around there. Golden eggs is the sole reason why I am doing wood crafting, wood cutting. Otherwise, I would have stayed 100% quarrying, because my craft that I really enjoy is rune crafting, and rune crafting uses sandstone, marble, and malachite, I don't know how you pronounce that. But golden eggs is a very, very useful drop. It's used to make heroic potions, which give an enormous boost to your character. It's a permanent boost to your character, and so there is only one way to get those. I mean, I guess now we have raids that can drop them, but you know, they don't. I don't think. Yeah, there's no boss fight. The only way to get it is to get wood cutting. You have to get it up to at least level 100, and then have a very good drop rate. So I decided, because at the time, you know, market-wise, it would be very difficult for me to get golden eggs, let alone provide them to clanmates. So I was like, I'll just split my time, and I split my time when I'm gathering for wood and for stone. But the golden egg was the big motivator there. And then yeah, for quarrying, sandstone, marble, mala for crafting. And then the other part of the gathering tab is the upgrade level, as your gathering skill shards. I mean, it's just another currency upgrade system. Here's your bonuses down here. So the way this works, your upgrade level starts out at 1. And so I guess the max level in any of these things can be 1, or maybe it's 5. It's been so long since I know what the beginning one was. You can increase your level by paying metal, wood, and stone. So I paid enough to get up to a level 100. Every time you do this, it gives a 5% bonus, right? 5? Yeah. Yes. 5. Oh, it's right there. It's right there in front of me. 5% bonus to the amount of shards dropped. Now, this is weird because the shard amounts are so small that I don't trust this in anything less than like increments of 100. Right? Like if you have 170% bonus, but you're only getting like 4 shards, like essentially you're just going to go up to 6. Like what's the difference between 150%, anywhere between that amount and 200? So anyway, I just suggest the players, when you're going to start upgrading these levels, do it in a burst. Try to get at least like 50% at a time. Like that's, I guess I'm suggesting do 10 upgrade levels. If you're wanting to see gains. And they get pretty expensive here. I have to spend 25 million now if I want to go up. Now, the upgrade level here corresponds down here in at the bottom half of that. You can see in resources I'm at level 27 out of 100. That 100 is based off my upgrade level up above. Meaning that like if all I ever bought was 27 upgrade levels, I would be capped at my resource bonus, 27 out of 27. Okay? So you do need to buy them. You can actually buy more than 100 levels above. And that, I don't know that I'll ever do that. Maybe if I really wanted more gathering shards. But the level down below for resource experience, resource rush, double item, item rarity, that's capped at 100. Once it gets to 100, it'll never go above. Everyone always asks, what's the most important one of these? People have different opinions. Obviously, the ones that are probably going to make you the most money is resources and experience, right? Because those things are going to translate to more gold per action, or more resource per action. And experience is important because the higher level you are, again, the more resources per action. I try to keep these even. I mean, you can see I'm not. Okay, here's a boss. We're going to demonstrate this. I'm just going to click. You just click on it and see I'm going to lose every time. I get 4 boss tokens on a hit and 1 boss token on a miss. So, and it's just going to go. All the players now are hitting this thing. Only the last player is going to get the prize, but you know, I suggest doing it because those boss tokens can be they can help out later. Okay, going back to the craft. No, going back to the gathering menu. So when I have enough shards, I can. Oh, and I'm too short. I was keeping these even for a while, and then as clearly you can see, I bought many more resource levels and experience levels than the other. Resource rush is an increase to. So resource rush helps your wood cutting, your quarrying, and your mining, mining, wood cutting, and quarrying rushes. Double item is exactly what it sounds like. When I have one of these sandstone drops, the chance of it being 2 sandstones instead of 1, that's cool. An item rarity, so I'd get a marble, a blue marble instead of a green sandstone. That's also helpful. You can see right here that Orc Overlord boss is about to go. He's yellow now. When he gets to red, which is I think is his 20%, 15% health, you can't join the battle anymore. You're either fighting by this time or you're locked out. Yeah, I think it's about 20%. That's to prevent snipers. A lot of players joining late. Okay, so that's how this works. Someone's about to win. Let's see who it is. Poisoned. Cool. All right. That's the gathering tab. And then, so gathering, crafting. I'm not going to go deep on crafting here. I will just say crafting is not something for new players. And the reason is because crafting is very expensive and very demoralizing. Unless you're doing alchemy. Alchemy, you cannot fail. It's a 1-to-1 ratio between these, 1 tree sap or whatever, spider egg and tree sap, and it's just going to make a potion. There's no way to fail this. Jewelry crafting. Let's see. Jewelry crafting. I've never actually crafted a jewel, so I don't know. One of these other folks will have to explain it. But basically, you're going to have to go through a lot of sapphires to make a good, decent one. As if you're in main chat right now, you'll see whenever someone crafts an epic or better, it's announced. Well, they've crafted tens, hundreds, thousands of jewels in the meantime. And with rune crafting is hard because here I'll show you what rune crafting looks like. Rune crafting, you have a chance. So I'm crafting a tier 1 rune here, and here I'll show you the math here in just a second. I have to roll 5 successful rolls in a row in order to make that. I'm going to go back to quarrying for a second, and then I'm going to show you the math. Okay, crafting, rune crafting here. I have a 49% chance that all 5 will be successful. I have an 86% chance that each individual roll will be successful. Okay, and you're like, that's not bad. I think if you're a new player and you have level 1 rune crafting, I think you're at like 40% maybe. Okay, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad. If you look at these higher ones, 27, 28% chance, you go even higher. Yeah, I guess 27. To make a tier 2, it requires sandstone and a tier 1. To make a tier 3, it takes a tier 2. So it's a big pyramid of resources with a lot of failure there. So I like to go into this thing. I like to craft up at least 1,000 tier 1s, which means you need at least 2,000 sandstone. And this is where it gets into that is 2,000 actions it's like 10,000 actions or something like that, that I wasn't making profit. And most of the time you just generally break even if you want to turn around and sell your runes. So it's kind of fun. I mean, I'm number one in terms of total quantity of runes crafted, and I think at this point that's like the only reason I'm doing it. Aside from, no, I mean, I enjoy making I enjoy making them. I like providing them to my clan and stuff like that. It is very expensive. It is. I've spent billions of gold buying and just having it crushed. Especially when you start failing on these high level runes that cost hundreds of millions of gold to make. So anyway, my suggestion: new players, focus on accumulating your drops. That's what you should focus on. Craftings for later. Clan. Let's see. Clan is a bunch of stuff. The main thing here are buildings. Buildings are essentially bonuses shared by everybody. So, for example, resources totem, level 21. So at 2% per level, this is a 42% boost to my total resources that I get. And so as a new player, you really do want to join a clan. It's incredible. Even if your clan has taxes. My clan does not. I encourage everyone to get that clanmanship. So as you can see, there's a lot of clan rushes. I'm actually not going to show too much of the clan stuff when there's no bosses. Cool. But even if your clan is at 10% resource tax, which most clans aren't, joining this particular clan would have given you a 42% boost. So you've netted 30% if the tax was up at 10. It's a huge thing. And as you start the game, I think you only have 100 autos. This is where like clans with the autos help too. So we're giving 24% bonus to each person for their auto, so you can play longer without having to click more. So that's, they've got bonuses over attack, defense, health, drop, mastery, attribute, gold, and all the crafting and combat and experience. So that's clans. Clans are very nice. Clans are fun. Finding fun clan and trying to extra though rough right now. Yes, so this is important. Okay, clans get a spot every 20 levels. So if we go to clan registry, you can see it's going to be a while till one of these guys gets up to level 120. The other thing is here, if you go to buildings, go to headquarters, this is what dictates clan the cap. 955 credits. So at 2 million a pop, round that up to 1,000, 2 billion gold worth of credits. 800, so round just for quick math, 3 billion in gold just for the gold cost and the credit cost. And then 104, so we'll round these up to 150 and say they're at least 4 gold each. That's another 2. So we're talking like 3.5 to $4 billion, dollars, gold, to acquire one additional slot in this clan, right? At the headquarters level 15. And that's going to keep scaling up and up and up. I think the last one was at 2.5 billion. So for the bigger clans, it is really expensive. And so they are very picky who they let in, because it costs them a lot to open up that slot. And this is where oftentimes players will trade up. They'll be in a clan that has a much smaller base where those slots were more affordable. And as you are worth more, to put it a better way, the likelihood of your clan rushes triggering and the size of those clan rushes, your contribution to the clan. And so this is why I always suggest stay active. Stay active. They want someone that's gonna, if you go to like your actions a day, right? I clearly do not get a lot of sleep if I'm pulling these types of actions. Don't be someone that logs in and only does like 2,000 actions a day, right? Try to get to like 6,000 to 8,000, and that can be tough. But that's going to be the reasoning behind a lot of clan decisions on whether or not you get offered a slot. My particular clan, offers a lot to newbies when we can afford it. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna eventually pay. Eventually, eventually we're gonna buy that headquarters level 15, and then level 16, and then level 17. Um, but it is very very expensive. So clan, and then the last thing I think I'll talk on tonight is land. So I've land level 10. Everyone starts off, I think it land 0. Yeah, because you have to buy level 1. And I'll just say this: land is a little bit of it's a bit overhyped. Um, the first couple levels of land are very important, and if you read the release notes, go to announcements, go down to patch 5. I think it's the earliest one that Carl provides, and he talks about land, and he even says down here, the most profitable one is level 3. Right? Just sit at level 3. There's not a purpose to go against above level 5 unless you are a long-term player. Okay? Land gives you more autos, it gives you more gold, it gives you more resources, it gives you trinket drop chance, it gives you better loot from standard raids. Okay? But the cost is very high. If this was a very expensive thing to invest in just to get 10% resource bonus, when I can say, okay, just for example, I could spend 640 gold, not including the resources, 640 gold, and I would go up resource gain of 1%. I could buy 10, 12 heroic potions for a 10% gain for that same amount of money. So as a new player, when you're like, where do I put this amount of gold I want to invest? Basically the question is, where do I get the next 1%? Where do I get the next 1% gold gain? Where do I get the next 1% resource gain? Is it in improving my trinkets? Is it in improving my tools? Is it in improving my equipment? Is it in improving land? I think a lot of people go for land because it feels like so much more of like, I'm improving my character, I'm building a house, I'm building a city, versus like, well, just buy some credits and go into your premium drops. This is not fun, right? This idea of like premium, you immediately get sucked out of the immersion of the game. And you're like, well, here's a menu of people paying real money, right? And in my premium drop, you can go to boost, right? Now I've capped all my boosts on the stuff that I do, but for a lot of players, this is sitting at like 0%, right? And that first, what is it? The first 1% for your resource boost costs 15 credits. Well, at 2 million per credit, and even cheaper if you use the black market, that is at 30 million gold for that 1% boost, which is what? 2/3 the price of a heroic potion for the same boost, or a fraction of the land cost. So it's important to realize under each one of these tabs, there's a different way to get that next 1%, and it's going to change. The equivalent of like my next hammer level. So, I need 23,500 tool components. Those sell for roughly, 70,000 gold. So I'm just going to ballpark it here. What is that, like 1.4 billion gold? Even more? Let's see. 2350 times 23,500 times 70,000? 1.6. So yeah, we'll just say 1.65 billion gold. And that's going to get me a 5% gain. It's going to get me a 5% gain to just stone, as opposed to heroic potion or land or your premium resource boost or trinkets affect stone, metal, and wood. My hammer only affects stone. But at some point, the math is going to be that I've accumulated this much gold, and this is going to be, I guess, the most affordable thing to get that bonus. So don't get trapped in land. I would definitely say, we talked briefly about raids. Raids are unlocked by your land level, so I suggest getting to at least level 3 because that gives you the nice 8-hour raid, which is a nice overnight raid. You can also do, also in raids, is your portals, which is, this is that later game thing. This is that abyss. This is where you unlock access, your daily access to the abyss. And then the last thing is personnel. This again is some, I guess it starts off as some mid-game bonuses, but can go into some later game stuff. I think it was Evelyn that worked out the math for these. So each one of these affects, let's see, Scout affects the chances for better raids. Treasure Hunter affects your chance at trinket drops. This is the only way to get trinkets. You cannot buy trinkets. So if you want a good trinket, it has to come as a drop, which is why here I've taken it up to level 100. Your Quartermaster, which increases the drops in the Abyss, and the Dungeon Keeper, which is the latest edition, increases how you run dungeons. The dungeon tokens you get, the experience you get, etc. So these things come with, there are 2 ways to invest in them. The first is with credits. So they start off as white, and then it's 50, 100, 150, 200, 250 to make this name go from white to green to blue to orange to red. And then, so that affects that rarity level. And then this level corresponds to the gold that I have to spend there. So let me see. And this again, so in the short game, this is stuff that you may want to dump a couple levels into. Later game, this is where you'll want your big investments. To get to level 50 takes about 500 million gold. To go to 75, I believe, takes 2 billion. To go to 100, sorry, that's 2 billion on top of the 500 you spent. To go all the way to 100, I think takes about 8 billion after the 2.5 you spent to get to 75. So again, like a reasonable amount up front, and then it gets real expensive. So that's personnel, and I think I skipped over dungeons. Okay, let's just, here, we'll watch this action. A dungeon. Basically it's like combat. It's very easy. You don't have to invest a lot into your character. The power levels here are very low. You're gonna get dungeon experience. Let me try to see. You're gonna get dungeon experience every action. Here, I'm gonna stop after completing here. You have to go through a number of rooms, and once you beat the final room, then you get the loot box, and you get some drops, and there's different rarities to these. Each dungeon is unlocked by those keys that we talked about with the action bonus. And this is the only way to get dungeon keys. So there, I got, and it's in your action log, some bone meal, tool component, weapon component. Now if I go back to dungeons, I'll see the full menu. So you have, and it's important to get your dungeoneering level up for a couple reasons. First, you'll want dungeoneering points to unlock jewels. Okay. The second thing is you'll want, so Mountain Pass, you can only get this key in your action bonus drop if you have at least level 25. Desolate Tomb, level 50. Abandoned Tower, 25. Haunted Cell, level 50. Vault, 65. And the new one, Treasury, 100. I have 93. So I'm a couple thousand keys away from this. But each one of these, just like combat, right? You have potential loot, alchemy stuff. Here's a runic leather that you can try to get, and see these mob power levels are very small, even here, right? What is the treasury? 25,000, which if you go over to battling, 25,000 is, yeah, it's pretty low. It's pretty small potatoes. And over here, if you look in my log, I just got my gathering skill shards. Gathering skill shards will only drop when you're doing a gathering action. It doesn't matter which gathering action you get, you just have to do a gathering action. So I think that's a little bit of everything there. And then I'll do some more videos later on kind of more specific features. But I think that's it. Thanks everyone for attending the stream. I'll post the video to YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the game. There's also a Discord as well. The idea behind this too is that we are starting a website for guides to kind of go over what I've just said in this video, but maybe more specific about certain tracks or actions within the game. So thanks everyone. Have a good night.